Flashers. My name's Terence Edwards.
I'm Rhys Jones.
First up, here's the news.
Hugh Laurie is in negotiations to play a key role in the RoboCop remake. According to Variety, Laurie is eyeing the role of the cold and sarcastic CEO of OCP, the company which creates the cybernetic law enforcer. Australian actress Abby Cornish has also been offered the role of RoboCop's wife.
A star-studded cast has been assembled for Randall Miller's drama CBGB. Miller's movie will tell the story of the legendary New York Music Club. Alan Rickman, Rupert Grint and Ashley Greene have joined the project, whilst Malin Ackerman will play Debbie Harry, and the Foo Fighters' Taylor Hawkins will appear as Iggy Pop.
Tom Cruise will star in the remake of classic western The Magnificent Seven. MGM have announced the remake despite not having a director or a screenwriter for the project. Other actors in line to join Cruise are Matt Damon, Morgan Freeman and Kevin Costner.
Iron Man 3 will not feature the Iron Patriot. According to Latino Review, the on-set shots of a man in red, white and blue armour have now been identified as a redesign for the War Machine armour. It was previously thought that James Badge Dale, who will play Coldblood, would appear in the suit. It now appears this will fall to Don Cheadle instead.
Plot details for the sequel to The Woman in Black have been announced, subtitled Angels of Death. The film is set during World War II and will focus on a beautiful young nurse who is sent to care for disturbed soldiers at the house seen in the original film, but who must also contend with the evil spirits within. The Woman in Black became the UK's most successful horror film in 20 years on its release earlier in 2012.
And finally, Danny DeVito has announced that a sequel to the 1988 comedy Twins is in the early stages of development. Triplets would reunite Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger as brothers, who find they have a long-lost sibling, played by Eddie Murphy. Schwarzenegger has reportedly said he would love to do another Twins, whilst DeVito hopes the sequel will be filmed in 2013.
Okay, if you're a regular listener, and if you're not, I'm going to fill you in. I was actually lucky enough to get hold of some press tickets, and I went to the opening midnight screening of Ridley Scott's Prometheus. So you can catch that up, or if you listened to it already, know my opinion on Prometheus. However, Tezza wasn't able to come with me, so he's going to give you his thoughts after now he's finally seen it.
Okay, first off, Prometheus is one of the few 3D films I've seen which actually warrants seeing in 3D because it was shot in 3D. So it is a visual sight to behold. It is beautiful. Everything, the alien planets, the ship, it's all beautifully rendered, and some of the effects are, quite frankly, to die for. If ever the phrase "a triumph of style over substance" could be applied, it is to this film. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it. It's been about 4 or 5 days since I've seen it, and every so often it's kind of resurfaced in my thought patterns. I'm trying to figure out what didn't work, because by rights this should be one of the epics. It should be up there, one of the best films of the year, and sadly there's something not right with the film. There's some vital spark missing, and I'm not sure even now that I can put my finger on exactly what it is. Because acting-wise, performance-wise, I don't have any complaints, apart from Noomi Rapace's slightly wandering accents. She was supposed to be British if the flashback is to be believed. However, the British accent really did waver, it wandered quite a lot. I absolutely loved Michael Fassbender's performance as David. I thought he was brilliant. I really enjoyed Charlize Theron's performance as Meredith Vickers as well. And her character has come in for a bit of stick online, kind of saying, is she important, is she needed? Well, aside from one rather pantomime twist with her character, I really liked it. I really liked her performance. I thought she was very strong, very steely, and a good hand with a flamethrower, which is something you always want in a woman. So performance-wise, fine. Visual-wise, fine. I'm not really sure why I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. But make no bones about this. Don't go into this thinking you're going to see something completely original, because you're not. It is, no matter how much they say it's sharing strands of DNA with Alien, pretty big chunks of DNA, frankly. It's almost as if they're trying so hard to distance themselves from their own mythology that there actually comes what look like several quite glaring omissions. glaring mistakes, shall we say, which we'll get into when we get a bit more spoilery. I've got a feeling, though, that the problem really lies with the script. Perhaps that's where things aren't sparking right, and it's like anything. If you can have the grandest house on the block, but if it's built on shoddy foundations, it's not going to stand up to scrutiny. Yeah, I think it's not as original and as trailblazing as the production team would like us to believe it is. Even down from the fact that the opening credits are virtually identical to Alien. The closing monologue is entirely the same as Alien. You know, the plot of it, you know, the action, the beats of what character meets their maker when, very much like Alien. So, if they'd been open and honest and say, you know, we are playing fast and loose with the Alien mythology here, rather than dressing it up as this strands of DNA nonsense, I probably have more respect. I probably wouldn't feel quite so let down, really. The rating for me is going to be slightly higher than Rhys's, because I know Rhys wasn't too enamoured by the whole thing. I'm going to give it a solid 3. I think there's more that both of us want to say about this, only we are very conscious about time. So what we're going to do, like we did with the Avengers, is we're going to record a special extended chat about Prometheus, which is going to be a podcast exclusive. So please subscribe to hear the rest of what we think about this film. Right, at the moment in cinemas, you've got a golden opportunity to see one of cinema's absolute classics, the original summer blockbuster, which is Dun 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 Dun. And if you didn't get it from that, it's Jaws.
Yeah, I went and watched Jaws. Quite frankly, I haven't seen Jaws for years, and the only time I've seen Jaws is on television. And I might add, I've only seen a television version, or I have actually seen a late night cut, which is probably the closest you'll get to a proper cinema version in modern times. When I was a kid, I watched it, and it scared the bejesus out of me, and I wouldn't go in the sea for a while. I did all that.
No, me neither. It's quite a terrifying film. And it plays on the very primal instincts of humans, which I think is what makes it so successful.
Exactly. From watching it fresh, I gotta say, you have to see this film in the big screen, and you have to hear it with 5.1, which now it has. Quite frankly, I had forgotten how amazing this film was, and how much of a talented young director Steven Spielberg was. This film is just exactly what I've been saying for the last couple of months in the show, and when I've been annoyed at films where there hasn't been enough work on the script, where the plot lets it down, where the characterization is just minimal and you don't care about anyone. What this film does is, yes, it builds on tension, and there's scary jumpy moments, there's horror moments within a fantastic, simple, basic story. You know, it's a very minimal plot here, really, when you think about it. And the baseline.
Yeah, very easy. But
what you have is an amazing performance by Roy Scheider. You know, Richard Dreyfuss, I forgot how fantastic he was in this film. And also, of course, the amazing Robert Shaw. Those three just bring a gravitas to this piece of film, and I can't hardly say enough of how much I re-embraced this film and really just fell in love with it again. You know,
it's very interesting you say that those actors give it the gravitas, because kind of on paper it could have been a very schlocky B movie.
It is a B movie. It's a B movie. You know, there's no way getting around it. That film is a B movie. If it wasn't directed by Steven Spielberg and it wasn't acted by those three giants, you know, of cinema, this film would have been just a straightforward B movie. I mean, look
It would have been Piranha.
It would have been Piranha 3D or Piranha Good God 3 Double D. You know, basically the same premise. You know, it's monster in the sea, blah 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 blah. Or in this case, it's a predator of nature, and they're having to fight it, and it's basically attacking people. Blah 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 blah. It's not bore people with the plot. Everyone knows the plot. But it's a B movie by any other name, but the talent involved is what makes this film a cut above, and it's the emotional ties within the film. The children of Roy Scheider, the chief of police's character, his children, and the juxtaposition between his concerns over the Amity town folk and the people that visit the town. He was like, but then obviously they cut to his complete father instincts, which is to keep his kids out of the sea. There's all that going on. You know, there's Richard Dreyfuss's character, who is the scientist who wants to meet this shark, who wants to find it, and there's the hunter in Robert Shaw. There's the three elements of man there. You know, the intelligence, the carer, the provider, and of course the hunter. You know, in three characters, there are archetypes, you know, of man. Ooh, there you go, seminal thinking. I'll just happily say it's 5 out of 5. Classic fairy tale retold. So, Snow White and the Huntsman. What did you think, my friend?
I liked it, but I didn't love it.
Ooh.
I found it all quite derivative. Basically, if you see any kind of high fantasy film of the last 10 years or so, you've basically seen the entire colour palette, design scheme, and costume design of Snow White. It's all been done before, and it's all been done, I will say, better before, because I did enjoy it, mostly for Charlize Theron's performance, because she's brilliant, and the dwarfs as well, but we'll get onto those in a minute.
I really, really liked it. I agree with a lot of the points. Actually, I agree with a lot of the points you just said. Actually, the design was as if they borrowed a design sketchbook from Lord of the Rings from New Zealand. I was actually sat there thinking, and I can just honestly say, epic. It was generally epic in the scale, and it was really nicely designed. It was really nicely scripted. Actually, it had no right to be as good as it was.
No.
It was really well thought out with the characters. It wasn't over the top schmaltzy and as it could have easily done in the fairy tale in quotation marks. What was nice is it kind of had that. It did have the Grimm brothers kind of feel to it.
Oh yeah,
definitely. It had that real kind of dark, and I mean that in a good way, not in a niche noir dark. I mean like in a grim.
Because obviously this is the second adaptation of the Snow White story this year, whereas Mirror Mirror went for a very candy-coloured, very family friendly, very family friendly, very bright, very pantomime-ish almost. Whereas this went for the more gritty, more real element, and I think it wins out. Really.
I agree. This, for me, generally, I would happily own this film and watch it again. It really impressed me. I like this kind of film. It's my bag, my cup of tea. And I went in there not read anything, didn't know who's directed it. Because I actually said to you before the film started, I had no idea who directed this. For us, that's weird. I'm not gushing. I'm not like over the top. Like I love it. I'll go see it again. I'll go and watch it tomorrow. But this film has generally taken me by quite a surprise. Because I have really enjoyed my night tonight. I really enjoyed all the characters. The dwarfs were fantastic. The actors involved in the dwarfs: Ian McShane, Ray Winston.
Yeah, it's amazing. You've got Toby Jones, Eddie Marson, Bob Hoskins. It's just amazing. You've got kind of basically the cream of British.
Nick Frost.
Thank you. You've got the cream of British acting there. It's very nice kind of comedy relief from them.
But not over the top.
Not over the top, not kind of, and nothing really
staged,
crass or too staged. Some of the visual effects were really, really great. Especially, there's a lot of when they first enter the dark forest. There's a lot of quite hallucinogenic, kind of very dark, twisted kind of scenery, which I really liked. I liked that kind of thing, and the only thing I will say is, this might seem like a bit of a silly point to labour on a film based on a fairy tale. But the whole thing of it, it's been done better before for me. But all fairy tales are archetypes. This story's been told 20 dozen times. So it seems slightly disingenuous of me to kind of pick up on that point. But that's kind of how I was feeling watching it, kind of going, oh, they've nicked that bit from here, they've nicked that bit from here, and yeah.
So I was busy going with the movie. I was thinking, okay, it's a classic tale. Everyone knows the Snow White story. What are they going to do? And what they did was respectful and at the same time believable in a fantasy world that they set up.
One thing I will say though is they do use the poisoned apple.
I love that.
How that gets introduced in is probably the most original part of the script, and I was overjoyed by that. It was really, really good. It's definitely worth seeing on a big screen, because it does. Rhys is right. It does have the epic scale, and I have enjoyed it. Even though, for me, I'm not quite as enthusiastic about it as you are. I think
it's like I said. I love a fantasy movie. It ticks all the boxes for me. It was respectful for the classic tale that it's beholden to be. It's not trying to be something it's not. It's a fantasy movie that's fun. It's probably going to be forgotten about in about a year or so. It's going to be cheap on a DVD. But let me tell you this, it's worth buying cheap on DVD.
Okay, I've said all about it. I've said all I need to say about it. I think, let's get to the ratings. 3.5 out of 5.
I've got to be honest, I enjoyed it a lot. I'm going to give it 4 out of 5.